Torturing mobs is something vital for any Minecraft player. Well, not really. But in this video, I'm going to show you 73 ways to torture mobs in Minecraft. Stay tuned because they will all be featured. We control a witch with another witch. It turns out that if we can make them fight each other, an endless war will break out. They can heal and harm each other indefinitely, so they'll be entertained for the rest of their days unless someone else interferes. Snowballs don't hurt almost any mob. This makes them a great item for annoying them. And since the snow golem shoots them, it's the perfect torture. I made a torture room with it. The zombies will never be able to catch up to the golem, so it will remain in the situation for life. But we can stop it with a piston and a lever. But something that seems a bit extreme to me is this torture machine. It's sad to see the zombie like this. We know that creepers are afraid of cats, so we can punish one with this. By executing a command, it's possible to tie all the nearby cats to a single creeper. This will cause it to spend its life running from them. And if you don't want to use commands, you can make a maze like this, where there will be a cat at every corner that will make it go from the start to the end and vice versa. Even a simple construction like this can be made. It won't ever stop moving. A simple loop machine you might have seen is this one, with ice and pistons. At each corner, there will be a piston with a redstone repeater, slime block, and a pressure plate. On top, obsidian, so it's not pushing the pistons. It could never get out and it will be fun to watch. The skeleton is one of the most annoying mobs in my opinion, so I'll really enjoy this. We put frostwalker boots on it and leave it on an island, so it can never enter the water and stop burning. It works with any mobs, all those that burn under the sun. A construction that represents torture is that of a villager with a dinner bone tag hanging. We can scare it to death with a bunch of zombies below. It will never die, but it won't know that. If you want to torture a slime, just lock it in a cube with slime blocks. It won't be able to move easily. It's a bit cruel because I consider it to be a good mob, but with magma cubes, I would do it without guilt. You were so calm in a mine, and when you came out, you found a village, so you thought of trading that emerald for something better. However, when looking at the trades, they were all a terrible scam. This can't go unpunished. Therefore, we're going to take revenge on the villagers. These mobs are the worst. Their economy is based on a green and shiny mineral that they protect with their lives. Fortunately, in Bedrock, it's possible to tie any mob with leads if we use boats, including villagers. So hey, we have an altar to wash their suffering with this very effective method. Some mobs are so dumb as to die before their pursuers, but villagers try to escape from zombies at all costs, using doors or any method to avoid them because they're very intelligent. But this intelligence they have can play against them. For example, if we throw a villager from this height and it has a ladder underneath, contrary to what one might think and surprisingly, these when falling will try to cling to the ladder to save their lives. So it's still an incredible way to make them survive in an infinite loop, pushing them downwards. We have seen infinite mechanisms of loops, but this one is too easy to make and faster than the rest. It works for villagers or any mob. A characteristic of Minecraft is that there are very familiar mobs, like polar bears. They protect their young very much. For example, these bears attack you if you hit their cub near them. This is a great detail of Minecraft that refers to real life. But what if you're looking at a very good method of torture? It's perfect for us. In the Bedrock version, pigs always follow their parents and tend to go towards them. This also happens with other mobs. So if we make a mechanism like this, the pig will always try to return to its parents, even if it's shot out all the time. Therefore, we have an infinite loop for them. If you are as evil as to use this, you already have the trick. What you do with it, only you will know. Is there anything more painful than death in Minecraft? Maybe. And that is the death of your dog. But who can kill it? Besides skeletons who are common enemies, simple, the warden. If you look for it with them, it will kill them for sure. This mob hits everything that makes noises, no matter who it is. Harmless or harmful, good or bad, so if your dog ever dies, use a mechanism like this to get revenge. It gets annoyed by any of the sounds and especially those from sensors, but since it will be locked up, it won't be able to do anything. Also, we can have a party among ourselves near it to annoy it. The warden has a lot of life. Too much in fact. So it can survive a very large explosion. Just blow it up with many TNT minecarts so it stays in the sky forever. Thus, it will never finish falling and will never die from a hit like other mobs. Let's suppose we build a stadium or some amazing construction and someone comes and blows everything up. The annoyance we will have will be incredible. So how can we torture them? Simple, we first place a platform so that when he is on it, he falls. And when we combine it with an iron door that when he opens it, it will close quickly. Below we can place any water and many pufferfish. So he can't die, but he will have a lot of poison for many seconds, and he will know that he should never do that to us again. Particularly, I'm a big fan of the Copper Golem. It's my favorite mob from the voting by far, and that he lost to the LA made me very, very angry. So, I'll try to do something to get even. Just put them in a small place like this and try to make them reproduce constantly. So they won't be able to survive entity cramming and will just die just by reproducing. A great lesson. Also, with a redstone mechanism like this, we'll make a hamster wheel for them to exercise all the time. The Warden has a very powerful attack, the Sonic Boom. It looks like a blue cone and is at a distance. The LA survives this, so it's a great method for torture for him. The good thing about redstone is that amazing things can be done. In fact, many tortures come from there, using pistons, but something interesting we can do is a method for the fish to be almost dead, but not totally. You see, with some clocks, it's possible to send a signal every so often, so this fish will never die, and it will remain like this for life. Wardens hate noises and will kill anything that make it, like this villager. So the worst block for him can be, among others, the bell. If we place a clock that rings the bell at every moment, it will go completely crazy. In this case, I used repeaters like this, and you can see how they are. The LA is a mob that when you can give it an item, it searches for it for you. If you place a note block in and play it, it will carry the item to it. This way, it's possible to troll it with another LA. They will keep carrying the items to the note block indefinitely because one will take it and the other will move it again, and so on. Villagers are mobs that people often bother a lot. In this case, I locked them in a pit with skulls, so they know what awaits them. I placed water above to have drops that fall and add to the ambiance. In the end, I summoned a zombie along with the villagers, so they fear him. Some Minecraft mobs hostilely attack poor turtle eggs. That's not right, so we'll take revenge. If the zombie continues doing evil and breaks all the eggs, it will fall into lava, causing its death. Obviously, as it's programmed for that, it will do it, so it will end up ending its life. Some mobs have a specific fear. For example, piglins. They fear all soul light, whether soul fire or lanterns. Therefore, it's possible to put them in an infinite loop with these. Just place one on one side and another on the other. Fish are very calm mobs that practically do nothing to you and won't bother you. So it's a shame that just with a soul sand block and water, you can bother them this way. If it's just one, it will stay quite a while inside the water. But if we place many, they will join forces and end up coming out. Unfortunately, they will also die. By placing a command block, this command on repeat and always active, and this other command will repeat and always active too. The skeleton we summon will heal every time it receives damage. That is, during the day, it will suffer indefinitely. Also, the other command removes the block above it as it hides, so it will never stop burning. Just prevent it from reaching the water because then its suffering will end. Something that will help you stop hating the mob that bothered you so much is this texture pack. It will completely humiliate any Minecraft creature. This is what a creeper looks like, not scary at all. And this is what a spider looks like. You will never be bothered by it. And this is what the witch looks like. Very funny. Personally, my favorites are the sheep or the cow. Very cute. Another way to bother a mob without killing it is with the dispensers. It will be a bit costly, but if we fill it with damage and healing potions, it will never die and will feel pain. Also, the dispenser's limit interferes. One thing we can do with a villager farm where all the villagers that are generated are attacked by zombies. It will be a bit scary as baby villagers are produced. If not, we can simply place 2 villagers and make the other watch how its friends turn into a zombie or is devoured by one. Another way to bother an enderman is by locking it in a small underwater prison like this. Also, we can change the glass for grass. So when it takes the block, it ends up hurting itself with the water that enters, digging its own grave. Zombified piglins are peaceful. They only get angry if you attack them. So if you want to bother them, you can place a turtle egg in the center surrounded by void. They will try to break it and fall. With this, we avenge the turtle, so it's not all bad. I also place trapdoors so they think they can get there. If we take a strider out of the lava, it will start to turn gray and will get hurt after a while. We can play with it thanks to this generator. It's not simple because it requires knowing how to make a timer. However, the lava will never reach it and we will have all the basalt we want. It's a good life lesson for it. And another way to play with a mob's feeling is with this anxiety machine. Arrows will rain from the dispenser, but none will hit it. It's perfectly coordinated and built just as you saw it. As you can see, many of these methods can be applied to various mobs, so use your imagination. For this one, we'll bother them with a purpose, and as we are seeing, the bug of axolotls with leads is still there. We'll give these axolotls a levitation effect, so if we have them tied, we can make them a balloon with them. Pretty nice. Plus, we could tie them to a fence for decoration. This can be done with any mob. Now what we're gonna do is trap a creeper in a boat, and once we're on the boat, we'll spin around like there's no tomorrow, to the point where it goes ultra fast. And I apologize if this bothers you to see this. And then when we get out, believe it or not, the creeper will get dizzy. This is what will happen. Its head will spin every so often and it will get disoriented. And it works as well with villagers and other mobs. Also, if we get back in the boat, it will keep spinning without having to do anything. Clearly, there are flaws with this mechanic. Goats attack armor stands. Therefore, we can take them to a high place, and when they attack one of them, they fall. The smartest ones will live. Another great example of instant karma. The warden is an overly strong mob with a lot of life. Therefore, if we want to bother it, we simply put some blocks with pressure plates and lamps on top for it to walk towards them. We can make the path as long as we want. If not, with this simple mechanism, we can also troll it. It will go from one side to the other non-stop, following the sound of the pistons. What we see is an anxiety machine, but it lacks a key ingredient to complete it. We'll place a creeper in this spot, and when it tries to explode, it will reset, and so on, indefinitely, locked in an infinite loop. The best thing is that if it explodes it would break the whole machine. This will play as much with your feelings as with your dogs. The lava will fall, but it will always be covered when it's about to arrive. It could even be a GIF. What I use for this is a slow clock, like this one, so it may be a bit complicated. This one you surely saw, a path to evaluate how intelligent the villagers are, where they have to escape for their lives. Quite cruel, but viral. I won't explain more about this because there are 1,000 ways to do it. If we hide a chicken and above it we place lava, when the fox tries to kill it, it will burn completely. It's a great way to apply instant karma, and if you want to go further, you can make a machine like this. It will never be able to reach the chicken. We can also lock a vindicator with villagers and minecarts. They will never catch them. Same logic as the previous point. It's a chase that reminds me of a certain movie. This bedrock version construction is very good, but a darn torture. It makes them go up and lie down repeatedly, although it's very funny because it looks like they're dancing. Also, you can do this construction with an observer and a bell, which will never let the villager sleep. He will have to work tired. A natural torture is the rain for Endermen. With spectator mode, we can see what happens to them every time it rains. They have to move everywhere until they find a roof. The other day I was walking through my world calmly, but I came across this mob. You will wonder how I saw it. It simply does not generate naturally, and I did it with commands. It was a trap. Then we know that if the creeper has a cat nearby, it will run away. I imagine you know what I have in mind. With this command, let's place a cat above a creeper. The creeper will never be able to run away and will go crazy. Also, if we place a dispenser with creeper spawn eggs and in front of one with cats, and then we use skulk sensors behind each one, with the noise, a creeper will be generated. And with the noise of the creeper, a cat will be generated. And so on to infinity. Several times what happens to me is that I'm in the end about to kill the dragon. But something happens. When I go to kill it, I accidentally look at an Enderman, and if I don't get water, it kills me. It made me lose all my things and return to the normal world. So I will place in a flat world like this command, with repeat and always active in the options, so when an Enderman moves, water is generated underneath. This will scare it and make it move forever. Place several Endermen for more satisfaction. Also, in a flat world with only water, which can be created from the modification using the only water one, if we place an Enderman and break the block below it, it will stay touching water, and the command with which I summoned it gives regeneration so it does not die, and that's it. Frostwalker boots allow you to turn water into ice. This is useful if you want to travel faster. But if we summon an Enderman with a command so that it takes the boots, we can give them to it. Then we will see if it's as smart as it is to come for us anyway, and if he knows how Frostwalker really works. Which is the most loved mob in Minecraft? Many people might think it's their wolves or cats or even parrots, even for the weirder ones. Actually, ones that are favorites for many are axolotls. So who would think of torturing them? In this case, I can't do anything to them. I show you this user who tortured them with a mechanism where they fall and catch fire. With a command, you can place banners on villagers, and as we know, that pillagers are the natural enemies of villagers. And there are some pillagers that when summoned appear with a banner of them. It is possible to place a pillager banner on a villager that makes it lose all its principles. But this user created a machine with banners that torture them and looks quite good. The panda is an incredibly strong mob, although it may not seem like it. If we summon the panda with an item in hand, it will eat it no matter what it is. For example, a spyglass. So if we change the word spyglass in the command for this one, we will have a panda that will eat its own child, and it will be quite disturbing. Surely at some point you went to an end city and found a bunch of super annoying shulkers that made you go up. If they killed you with this, I have a way to take revenge. As snow golems attack any mob, and shulkers have a shield that helps them defend themselves, if they are attacked with the snowballs, they will not move, causing them to receive insignificant but very annoying damage. Surely at some point you accidentally hit a villager with a golem nearby, and if you don't have armor, they will surely kill you, so let's torture it. Just make a mechanism like the one you're seeing, so that it goes up, burns, and goes down again, and so on until it dies. By placing an observer looking to one side and another looking to the other, it is possible to make a clock, and then with a piston and slime, it is possible to make a torture device. Very simple and fast for any mob you want. Did you know that the slime is the mob that attacks most frequently? Instead of attacking each one, it does it in half the time. So you have to be careful with them because they can kill you. However, there is a way to torture them in a very fun way. Golems, when they push you, send you upwards. So we can just place two of them in a place and let them play volleyball with the slimes. So we will have entertainment and revenge. We will kill two birds with one stone. In this very simple way, we can use the anger of many mobs against them. For example, these wolves, which will die for wanting to kill the poor sheep. We know that chickens lay eggs. It's something everyone has seen, but we can use that against them. With a mechanism like this, every time the chicken lays the egg, the same egg will travel and hit it. It won't do much damage, but it'll be very fun. And we will see how it hurts itself until it dies. If we make a portal with beds like these, and the villagers go to sleep, in reality, they do not teleport. We will not torture them, but it will be something funny. Only with a lead, a fence, and many slimes we can go torture frogs. It's very easy. I can't think of why you would want to bother a parrot, unless you have one in real life and you hate it. But a way to bother almost any mob is to give it a totem of immortality. Then give the parrot cookies and it will be able to survive incredibly. A block widely used for torture constructions is the stone cutter. However, we can achieve something very similar with this command, which generates the power of the evoker in a block repeatedly. The truth is that the effect is very good and it has these particles that look good on top. Furthermore, unlike the stone cutter, this one does hurt and kill villagers. It's better in every way. You may know the trick of the dinner bone tag, but if we combine it with a cauldron, we can make a construction of villagers drowning. The best thing is that it will last forever because he doesn't actually drown. One of the biggest fears of the Enderman is water. It never wants to bathe. So one thing we can do to bother it is place it in an area full of water, where there are no visible blocks, and break the block on which it's standing. Just this one was finally able to teleport, so he ended up trolling me. Another thing that is fun to do, both with players and with mobs, is to use cobwebs. It will fall slowly in them and wait for their assured death in lava. Making a clock and a mechanism with pistons like this, it's possible to achieve a torture machine. When the piston pushes the soul sand, it will become an elevator and the mobs will go up. But when the piston contracts, the mob will go down, if it is a drowned or another aquatic mob. In this way, it will live in an infinite loop and will always be damaged when it is on the surface. The piglin is a mob that loves gold with all its being. If it sees it, it will go to it immediately even if it costs its life. So, to bother it, we can burn an incredible amount of gold ingots and thus make it see how the most precious thing is being destroyed. Everything the fox picks up can be used for its own good. For example, a sword with fire aspect. So if we give a fox a totem and throw it from very high, it will survive. We can repeat this as many times as we want, making it continuously save itself. Another thing we can do is give it levitation and another totem, so when the effects ends, it will not die. It would be funny to find it later. In the bedrock version, it is possible to tie leads to a boat. So if we put two villagers in one, tie them and finally put it on a very high fence, the villagers will start jumping this way in the boat. I don't know if this bothers them, but it's funny to see. They won't stop, ever, and it's infinite. And we can also do this with a sheep. On the ground, we place many wolves that will wait for the sheep to fall. However, it will bounce continuously, making both the wolves and the sheep suffer, as the wolves will not be able to take their food and the sheep will not know if it dies. Another way to bother a drown is with a fishing rod, so we will prevent it from reaching the water and stop burning. Try to do it in a lake anyway. In a snapshot, the Ravager, who was afraid of rabbits, was added. Rabbits ran away from him. It was a good way to nullify a mob that can literally kill you in almost one hit. This feature was eventually removed, but if we made a rabbit ride it, it would surely suffer a lot. This is a fully functioning mob guillotine. I just placed a trap door, and when it's activated, the mob falls onto the cactus, which ends up killing it. The trap you're seeing is probably one you already know, but it's more efficient on mobs than players. Anyone who passes by will get trapped and won't be able to get out. One thing you can do is hit them and protect yourself from them to annoy them. If you ever want to peacefully look at an Enderman, just put a tag on it with the name Dinnerbone. This way, we can confuse the Enderman's hitbox so it won't get angry with us. In theory, we would only be looking at its feet. If we place water, TNT, and finally a pressure plate, it's possible to troll many players since the TNT will make the explosion noise, but it won't cause damage. I wanted to try trolling mobs with this, but I realized it actually does damage, so it will end up killing them. In this case, what we'll do is lock a small villager like this and place a block above him, so when the villager grows up, he will suffocate and die from its own growth, which is quite a cruel way. Delay is a very good mob, but sometimes it's too innocent. Simply placing an item, trap doors, and pressure plates, this way we'll be caught in our trap, and we can steal it from our friend. Another trap we can make for a new mob is with an enclosed slime. Frogs will want to eat it, so they'll jump and end up getting stuck in the cobwebs. We can also do the same loop we do with the warden with the frogs, obviously. This is one of the best bridges there is. If we move forward, we can see all the mobs following us fall off, whether they're hostile or peaceful. Baby piglins are just as annoying as zombies. However, we control them in a very ingenious way by placing a piston, a slime block, and a slab with gold ingot on top. The piglin will never be able to reach it because it's too small. The copper golem is a mob that lost the Minecraft vote, which saddens many of us. If it had been added, this would be a very simple way to troll it, by placing a button and making it press it. This was a main characteristic. By placing a door with a sleeping villager, if a zombie comes and wants to break the door, even if we remove all the walls of the house, the zombie will continue to break the door. A good troll that exposes its lack of intelligence. With this command, it's possible to make the zombie sleep in the bed. It looks quite strange in it, so when night falls, the villager will go to his bed and see its worst enemy sleeping in it, running away in fear immediately. In a specific Minecraft snapshot, if we place a wolf on top of a slime, this is what happened. The wolf would dance non-stop. If we place an end rod with a repeater, it's possible to grind a zombie's brain, especially if we also put the Dinnerbone tag on it. It's almost the end of the video and the wardens are still looking at the bells. If you liked it, I appreciate it if you leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.